Alright everyone, before we get into this video properly, I'm just editing it right now, I just wanted to let you guys aware that I have a fantasy football on the UEFA. If anyone fancies joining me for the Euros, please do click the link down in the description and get on with it. But without wasting any more of your time, let's get on with the video. And like I said, make sure you go down in the description and sign up for the Fantasy Football League. It should be a good laugh. Cheers! Alright everyone, welcome back to Start One, Bench One, Drop One on my channel. We did something last week. We did James Maddison, Jack Grealish and Phil Foden last week. And this week we are doing Stevie G, Frank Lampard and Paul Scholes. Three players who have always been compared against. And, you know, three players who have been absolutely fantastic, both for their clubs and for their countries when they have played. If you are new, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe. This is the 10th day of uploading, so if you have missed anything, I'll leave a link in the description to a playlist called June Videos, and all the videos which I have created over this period of time are on there. So we will jump straight into this, and the first thing I'm going to do is start off with my drop one. This is going to sound very controversial, but as a Chelsea fan and someone who is in a family that are very, well, Liverpool inclined, I'm going to drop Paul Scholes out of this instantly because number one, I don't think it's fair to quite make a judgment on Paul Scholes, having watched a lot of Stevie G and Frank Lampard in my younger years. Only really started watching sort of games in their entirety when I was about 11, 12, and then Paul Scholes was coming towards the end of his career, as were the other guys. That is one thing, drop him out of the team, and to be honest with you, I don't think from what I have seen of Paul Scholes, he is at that same comparable level as Lampard and Gerrard, which does leave us with those two. And the debate around this is always who is better. Is it goal scoring, do you prefer, or is it all-round team? And that is what we've got to look at in this. And there is no doubt that Frank Lampard is the best goal scorer out of the three of them, and ahead of Steven Gerrard, he is the better goal scorer. Both of them have scored lots and lots of goals in the Premier League, and they've been absolutely sensational for both their clubs, and that's what we've got to bear in mind with this. Frank Lampard is Chelsea's all-time top goal scorer. Steven Gerrard was Liverpool's best player for the best part of 2 decades and was simply sensational. A really, really big game player who, you know, in big games really stepped up for Liverpool, and that's what you've got to bear in mind. You could argue the same with Frank Lampard, that through ball to Ramirez in the Champions League semi-final against Barcelona. So there is a lot of similarities with these two players, and the way I see it is, do you want goals or do you want an all-rounder? And considering we're looking at these as midfielders rather than out-and-out strikers, if it was an out-and-out striker, to be honest with you, none of them could play in out-and-out strikers because the depth of where they play between the three of them enabled them to be such fantastic footballers. All three of them absolutely top-class, world-class footballers on their day. Goals are very important, of course, and Frank Lampard scored a lot of goals for Chelsea in teams that were scoring a lot of goals. Steven Gerrard managed to be like top goal scorer in his last season or something like that, even though he was playing alongside the likes of Charlie Adam. I find this really, really difficult, this debate, because Gerrard and Lampard are two completely different players, and if we are gonna, it's like, to me, it's like comparing a left back and a left mid. It doesn't really work. Gerrard was more of your typical box-to-box midfielder. Lampard was your attacking midfielder who's there to get goals. But if I was to pick one to start in my team, I would start Steven Gerrard. He is a big game player, the better all-round player out of him and Frank Lampard, and I think Frank Lampard could do some damage off a bench. When a team's tired, they open those gaps, and Lampard was an expert running into those gaps late. And I know that will sound slightly controversial with me being a Chelsea fan, but I just think Steven Gerrard as an all-round player was pretty much the best on the planet for a good 5-6 years, and he was absolutely fantastic, Steven Gerrard, and that's why Chelsea tried to sign him. You can't take that away from him. We did try to sign him. It's just a shame we couldn't get a Scholes, Gerrard and Lampard to work in a midfield together without chucking Scholesy out on that left-hand side. But those are my opinions on Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard and Paul Scholes. So it's start one, Stevie G, drop one, Paul Scholes, and bench one, Frank Lampard. So those are my opinions. Let me know, guys, what do you think? I'm going off the fact that Stevie G is a better all-round player. That's why he would be starting in my team. Frank Lampard would be on the bench because he's a fantastic goal scorer. But if I'm going to play him in a midfield three, you want more of a box-to-box midfielder rather than an attacking midfielder. They're two completely different players in my opinion. If I have to stick one player on the bench, it would be Frank Lampard. Well, that concludes today's video. If you have enjoyed, be sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, all of that good stuff, and we will see you tomorrow, I think. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.